So, no, I wouldn't say I have a passion for HR.
Welcome back to Human Resources for the People. It's a human capital revolution. Today we're going to be answering Ask HR questions because I'm banned part 16. We've been doing this for a little while. We got an unemployment question out of New York. We got a really fun question out of Utah about body odor. And we've got misconduct, the software company in Texas. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the unemployment question. It says, why wouldn't my employer contest my unemployment benefits? The person goes on and says, I have a disability and my employer is aware of it. They have a policy on where and how to request. And I reached out and explained. I was told that my doctor should fill it out and I turned it in. Then they denied my request and sent me on my way without providing an accommodation. Well, they're allowed to. I mean, they really need to have a sort of an interactive process. It depends on what the request was, because it's very possible that you did, you could not be accommodated for your job because of what the doctor wrote. And so it has to be a reasonable request, and you can't just simply request something and expect it to happen. And then apparently he requested it 4 times, which I don't really understand that. The performance was failing, no one to turn to, and denied 4 times for 4 different reasons, which is totally possible depending on what was written. Again, took unpaid leave to protect my job and accommodate myself. That doesn't make any sense. Unpaid leave, like they were just allowing you to be off work. I don't really understand that. And also, that's not an accommodation at all to leave work, or not really. I mean, there are times where a limited accommodation could work for leave, but I don't know. Then the person was obviously not paid because it was unpaid. He says he was willing to work, but he just, had the accommodation of unpaid leave. And I don't really understand. It looks like they're still employed because they were advised to file for unemployment and the employer didn't contest it. It was just approved. Why do you think my employer didn't contest it? Well, there's a couple different reasons. One, you assume they care. Unemployment's not that important for a lot of employers, and a lot of employers will completely ignore it as just like irrelevant, or not really go after it. That's pretty common. Number two, and possibly real, although who knows. If there was a situation where I thought it was legally dicey, or at least I didn't want to bother with any sort of legal repercussions, might not contest it. I mean, it just pokes the bear a little bit more, and that's not necessary in situations like this. So why push back? And frankly, I'm more leaning towards they don't care. But it's totally possible that they're concerned about their response to you, and as a result, they didn't want to poke the bear. The next one up is out of Utah. It says, what to do when the department HR rep has body odor? And it says the HR rep has been reported numerous times in the past few years for her body odor. I am thankful that this includes her. It means it's not about me, which is a first. Sounds great. To answer this question, first off, body odor conversations are ones that I've had before. Oftentimes they're relegated to HR, but that's really not where they belong, in my opinion. I mean, I suppose that I'm saying this from from the idea that I don't like these conversations. However, that's not one of those things that a manager should be doing this. A manager should be having these discussions. In addition, this says that, the VIPs are aware of it, that she's going to be dealing with them. That means that the top brass probably needs to be involved here, and probably needs to be sort of cognizant of this. Again, I'm just thankful this isn't about me, but ultimately, I, uh, I think that it's a really interesting setup and situation. Finally, we're out in Texas, and his friend got terminated for misconduct in his software company. And the question is, will it impact his future employment? You know, a couple things. No, but with qualifications. So there is no, I don't know, file, I don't know, global file on all employees. All that may happen is if his prospective employer in the future wants to talk to his previous employer, the previous employer might say that he's not rehireable or something of that nature because of the misconduct. Also, you may just check it. He says nothing was done on purpose. You don't know that. I know everyone's friends and whatever, but I know how these stories go. So there's a chance that it could when the future employer asks his past employer why or whether or not he's rehireable or whatnot. The other piece to this is federal background checks, specifically circling around secret clearances, do ask these things. They do ask whether or not you've been fired for cause. I believe other agencies do, like the police and things of that nature. And as a result, that may hold him back. I know that's sort of an unexpected issue. I also imagine like banking in sort of areas of that they may ask. You could probably lie, although you wouldn't lie for the federal government for sure. You could probably lie, but of course, you might get caught. So the answer is that it's not known whether or not it will impact his future employment. It depends on the level that his future employers dig into his background. But I also would question whether or not things were done on purpose. There's often a lot of lost in translation situations that happen.